Hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to another live stream. Arsenal are not happy because Manchester United have got their man in Obi Martin, and they cannot control the fact that they may be better than us. They may be in a title race again, but some of their stars just want to go to Manchester United because we have a better academy and development pathway plan. Shay Lacy returning from injury, and United have plans to involve him in the first team. Manchester United have a big plan for Luke Shaw's return to prevent injury, and Ineos have been making some changes and running some injury prevention plans inside and around Manchester United and more. Hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football. Welcome back to another live show. I do apologise for the delays. We were meant to be live 15 minutes ago, but I cannot stand technology at the moment. I feel like an old woman is doing my head in. My laptop that cost me over £1,000 back in January decides every now and then that it's not going to detect my mic or my camera. For no reason, it just decides it's not going to detect my mic anymore. And if it does detect my mic, it decides to crash on me. I don't know what it's doing. It's not my mic. It's not my camera. So now we're using the default mic. I don't know what the default mic is like. I don't know what the sound is like. You have to let me know down below. But I hate technology. But listen, people, we're going to get right into the show. Please do go ahead and hit that like button if you have not already. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new. We've got lots to get into. We're going to talk about Obi Martin, Shay Lacy and more. And I do apologise for the delays and all of that as well. I've had so many technical difficulties lately, and I just can't do anything about it. I'm going to have to get a new laptop, I think, which is really, really annoying. But I think the sound should be okay. Arteta doing very well, but not keen on youth. See why Obi Martin joined us. Exactly. Arsenal fans are trying to make out that Obi Martin only joined us for the money. But it's like, nah, if you're a young player, Namwari's the first time Arteta's probably played a youth in ages, and that was a game against Bolton yesterday. It's the first time Arteta's really given youth a chance. If you're a young player, you can see exactly why. You can literally see exactly why young players would want to come to United and Ten Hag. Yeah, Ten Hag's football isn't the best, and Ten Hag's football isn't the most sustainable. And yeah, there's times where it's not helping young players. But at the end of the day, I do think that if you're a young player at United, you do get opportunities. That's the one thing. I don't think Ten Hag's football is the best. I don't think we were in the best position. But it's harder to get into the Arsenal first team because they're better players. Arteta doesn't really give youth a chance, whereas Ten Hag does and Man United does. But, Arsenal fans always trying to make it about the money, of course. But let's get into the Obi Martin news. Let's get into the Obi Martin stories. Exclusive. Manchester United have received formal communication from the Premier League that their prolonged ratification process for the transfer of former Arsenal starlet Chido Obi Martin has reached completion. Contracts will be signed in due course, officially rendering the young Dane a Manchester United player. Having missed a large portion of pre-season preparations, Obi Martin has been given the appropriate time to reach full fitness and acclimatise to his new environment. Fabrizio Romano then confirmed this news, saying, breaking, Obi Martin can now be considered new Manchester United player after Premier League approval. PL 5-step process concluded this morning with positive feedback as Academy scope returns. So I do apologise about that. I was saying that really loudly because there's lots of background noise going on behind me. But look, Obi Martin has joined United. He's chosen United because of what he views as a very good pathway for young and academy players at United. You look at Ten Hag, Garnacho, Kobbie Mainoo. He likes to give players an opportunity as well. And while I think the Man United system isn't the most sustainable, but want to get the best out of Mainoo long term, but Garnacho long term, you do get opportunities. Now, this deal has been taken ages to do. This deal has been held up so much. I think Arsenal have tried to hold up this deal because they don't want him to go to a rival in United. It's always a difficult one to do involving young players, but he is signed. He's been announced. It's all done. He's now starting training with United after months off as well. Could take a lot of issues with Ten Hag, but he is keen on youth integration exactly as well. I think United are so lost, so a young player will get chances. I think elements of it is we're not good enough, so the young players will get chances because the first team players aren't good enough. But even when we've had a good first team, we've always taken a chance on young players and given them time and minutes. Now, I'm not saying Obi Martin's necessarily going to get in, but apparently he's been told to be third choice after Zirkzee and Højlund, and there could be minutes there. If you don't know who Obi Martin is, he's essentially the academy version of Erling Haaland. Like, if you don't know who he is, he's the academy version of Erling Haaland as well. Obi Martin is the #1 striker from the age group in the world. Yeah, there's a reason Arsenal didn't want to let him go. Him and Namweri were their two best academy players. He is the Haaland of academy football, basically, as well. We always gave youth a chance from Cermat's time on, yeah. Even when we've been good, when we've been bad, one thing about this club is they give youth a chance. It's an important part of it as well. So let's continue on into some more news, into some more stories. Guys, if you have not already, please do go ahead and hit that like button, and of course subscribe down below if you're new. Hope the quality of the live is okay. So it was then said by Stephen Railston that Obi Martin will be gradually eased into a new environment following a spell out of a game, with him training on his own with a private coach during the process to complete the deal. It was then said that Mikel Arteta and the board pushed to keep Obi Martin, but he wanted to change. It's not about money, but development and the space he can find at United. Arteta and pushed to keep Obi Martin. Edo and everyone did their best to help him stay, but he wanted a change. It wasn't about the money, it was about development, and then he decided to join United. Now, I want to make this clear, and I want to get this up on the screen, because the Arsenal aggregator accounts, like AFC stuff, that have 1 million followers, tweeted information that came out from a Nigerian source with 6,000 followers that Obi Martin was requesting 40 grand a week at Arsenal, and that United were going to pay him that, and that's why he went to United. So all the big Arsenal aggregator accounts with, you know, millions of followers tweeted something and started spreading information from this Nigerian source, outrage, saying he's greedy. But when Fabrizio Romano said, no, that's not true, Obi Martin was offered the same amount of money by Man United as he was at Arsenal. Arsenal tried desperately to keep him, but he wanted a challenge. No Arsenal aggregator accounts tweeting that, just to let you know. So Arsenal aggregator accounts with millions of followers, hundreds of thousands of followers, are tweeting something that a Nigerian source with 6,000 followers said online about the Obi Martin deal. But they're not tweeting what Romano said about it, when Romano said that that story was fake from the Nigerian source, and that Arsenal offered him this, Man United offered him this, he wanted Man United for this reason. It's interesting why Arsenal can't just admit he chose United because we have a better academy. You know, they do what they can to suit his agenda. Is he going straight into the first team? No, he's going to be moulded in, but there is plans for him in the first team. So it was said that Obi Martin will be gradually eased into his new environment following a spell out of game, with him training on his own with a private coach during the complete process. So what's been said about Obi Martin, and I think it was said here as well, that having missed a large portion of pre-season, Obi Martin will be given appropriate time to reach full fitness level and acclimatise to his new environment. What's sort of been said in regards to Obi Martin, and what's been said in regards to other players like Shay Lacy, who's been out for a while, was Man United see them as players that can break into the first team this season. It has been said that Man United see them as players not necessarily going to start, but you know how Ethan Wheatley's been on the bench a bit. Obi Martin is probably a better player than Chiri and Ethan Wheatley, and Chiri and Ethan Wheatley are really good players. But what's sort of been suggested is that Man United like Obi Martin, they like Shay Lacy, they like Ten Hag likes Collier and Amas, and how they've got chances, and that Manchester United are prepared to give them chances. They will ease them in, they will want them to get back to full fitness. But Kone, Obi Martin, Lasol, those new signings have not been ruled out getting minutes. It's been said that United view Obi Martin as the third choice striker. So he's probably going to be beating Ethan Wheatley to the bench once he gets settled in. He's a guy that you expect to see on the bench and could get some minutes here and there. It's also been said that Manchester United are doing their best to make sure Shay Lacy settles in well, and that they have big plans for the player as well. And Shay Lacy and Obi Martin could be two players that potentially, so once they've settled in, could be getting call-ups to the bench and more as well. Is Obi Martin a pure out-and-out centre-forward? He is. He's a Haaland. He's a goal scorer. Like that's what he is, and that's the player he is. And I'm going to actually give you some information on Obi Martin here down below. It was said, Justin, Mikel Arteta pushed to keep Obi Martin at Arsenal. Edu and everyone did their best to keep him, but he wanted to change, as we said earlier. Sorry, meant to read this one out. 6'5" and only 16 years old, 32 goals in 18 games last season, 3 assists as well. Obi Martin is a name to remember. So let's talk a little bit about Obi Martin. So Obi Martin, this was tweeted back in April, had a period where he got 28 goals in his last 16 games. It was said Arsenal's Obi Martin scored 7 goals against Norwich back in April for the under-18s, taking his tally to 28 in 16 appearances, which later moved to 32 and 18 appearances, with 24 goals in his last 7 games. The most prolific striker I'd seen, was said by Academy Scoop, linked to United. He got 7 goals versus Norwich, 5 goals versus West Ham. The only game he didn't score in was a game versus Fulham, 4 goals versus Palace. He was absolutely lighting up at academy level. Now, I saw this thread because I don't really watch a lot of Arsenal academy football, where someone had wrote a little bit about Obi Martin and the player he is. So I'm not going to read out the whole thread. Some sources saying he's 6'4", 6'5". I would have put him at 6'2". But apparently he's like 6'4", which is crazy. But this thread said he's 16, he's a striker with 18 goals and 3 assists in 32 games, averages a goal contribution every 40 minutes. His strength is finishing, and he's known to be a natural goal scorer. Left foot, right foot, inside the box, outside the box, he can do it all. He's born to put the ball in the net. Strength is his physicality. At 16, he's 6'2", but some sources saying 6'4", so who knows? And strong. He has everything going for him in terms of ability. His other strength is work rate. He presses from the front and has got goals this year by forcing mistakes and winning the ball with the defender. One thing we know, and I'm not saying that he's going to walk into the first team this season, but Ten Hag likes a striker that presses from the front. Ten Hag likes strikers that press, that work hard, that press from the front. Also say 6'4", some say 6'5", some say 6'2". I'll be on the safe side and say 6'2". But, you know, he's a player that presses, and he's a player that's got goal-scoring instinct. And in terms of what Ten Hag actually wants from a striker, Obi Martin has that. I mean, Højlund has that as well, and it's about creating service. We could play Obi Martin, but if he gets no service, he's not going to do anything that Højlund hasn't done. Do you know what I mean? But he's definitely a player that I can see Ten Hag taking a liking to, and towards the end of the season, once he's settled in, get some opportunities. Guys, we're on 92 likes, with 8 likes away from 100 likes, and we've got 400 people watching as we're speaking right now. So please do go ahead and hit that like button if you have not already. And of course, guys, it'd be greatly appreciated if you do go ahead and vote for Alice Talks Football in the Football Content Awards. There'll be a link in the description and pinned in the live chat. I'm nominated for 3 awards: Best Influencer, Best in Video, and Best PL Content Creator, Best Club Content Creator. If you could vote Alice in those awards, if you haven't already, it'd be greatly appreciated as well. Alice, the hard work on your channel deserves likes. Come on, people. Thank you very much. Despite you supporting that disgusting club, I appreciate the nice chat in there as well. Alice, in your honest opinion, do you think Ten Hag knows what he's doing? I think he knows what he's doing. I just think he's afraid to change it when what he's doing isn't working. I think Ten Hag knows what he's doing and knows what he wants to do. I just think he's afraid to change it when it's not working, is the way I describe it. But talking of United, talking of the academy, talking of additions inside United, I wanted to read out this written here. Leny Yoro, 18. Sekou Kone, 18. Obi Martin, 16, centre-back, DM, centre-forward. In just one summer transfer window, Man United have assembled what could be an elite-level spine to last a decade or more. Players with the potential to define an era of success of top level at the game. Enormous credit to those involved identifying and recruiting these talents. Youth, courage, success. Man United have gone and signed out one of the best. Man United have signed the best young centre-back in the world in Leny Yoro. The best 18-year-old centre-back in the world is Leny Yoro. They've gone and signed him. They've then gone and signed one of the best young DMs in the world, who was the best player at the Under-18s World Cup, Sekou Kone. And then they've gone and signed the most prolific goal scorer in academy football that's broken records, Obi Martin. Centre-forward, DM, centre-back. United have gone out and signed them, which is pretty crazy. Then they are potentially, I'm not saying that these players are going to hit their potential, but potentially if they do hit their potential, that's at a crazy level for the next 10 years as well. The worry with Ten Hag is perhaps he still hasn't adapted from Eredivisie tactically. I agree with that as well. On a serious note, you're one of the best content creators. Appreciate that. I think Erik ten Hag has lost without McTominay as a sub. He does not know who to bring off and who to bring on. He always went for McTominay to bail him out. That's the thing about McTominay was he wasn't good enough to start for me, but he was our best substitution. Well, Garnacho is probably our most impactful substitution, but I know what you mean. His substitutions and man management haven't been good. But let's talk about Shay Lacy. Let's talk about a few other stories going about in regards to United youngsters, which is quite interesting. So, Shay Lacy, do you know what? We've been talking about Harry Amas. We've been talking about Toby Collier. We've been talking about this guy. We've been talking about that guy. But there's one guy in the Man United Academy that is our Phil Foden. There's one guy in the Man United Academy that's ceiling, is miles ahead of, Harry Amas, miles ahead of Collier. And that is Shay Lacy. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be a better player than those guys, but in terms of his ceiling, in terms of his natural ability, that he is probably the highest rated player in the academy. Now, Shay Lacy was really good at the start of last season. He was balling out for England, balling out for Manchester United. And he suffered a serious injury that basically got him out for the whole season. Now, that's been an absolute shame because Shay Lacy was really highly rated inside and around Manchester United, really highly rated by those in the club. And due to his injury, he basically missed pretty much 70% of last season, and he's on the way back. Now, Manchester United rate Shay Lacy very, very highly. He's someone they see having 13 potential, and they want to be really careful around his return. But he was someone that was featuring in first-team training, and that Ten Hag apparently, but this time a year ago, it said that Shay Lacy and Harry Amas were two youngsters that had caught Ten Hag's time. Lacy needs a run of fitness and physically needs to fill out and develop exactly. I don't see Lacy getting any opportunities till pre-season. I feel, if I was going to be totally honest, just because of the injuries and the setbacks he's had. But he is someone towards the end of the season with Obi Martin that I could see potentially getting on the bench for Manchester United. Continuing on into some injury updates. It was said Manchester United are clearly treating Luke Shaw very carefully because of the amount of times he's broken down previously. They're being extra cautious with Luke Shaw. So we just talk about Shay Lacy, how we need to mould him in. Do you know when Obi Martin first came back, before he even got on the first team bench, he played about 5 or 6 academy games to mould him in. That's what United are doing with Shay Lacy. But Luke Shaw, a year ago, would have been playing for us. So Luke Shaw basically came back versus Luton and got injured again. Now, Luke Shaw, they feel, could play for us this weekend, but it's in a position where he could risk injury because it's not 100%. Now, last season, the minute Luke Shaw was given the okay to play, we played him, we rushed him back, he got injured again. Instead of Luke Shaw playing at the weekend, which he probably could, Man United are thinking, well, we don't want to risk re-aggravating that injury and him getting injured again. So Man United have said, you know what, instead of playing Luke Shaw at the weekend, we will, mould him back in, is what United have said. So the reason the Luke Shaw return is being very slow is because although, like Mount and Højlund, he probably could have returned maybe last weekend at the earliest and come off the bench, United are like, well, we're not going to do anything until we're really certain. And Man United sort of rushed Casemiro, Martinez and Luke Shaw all back from injury last year, and then they got injured again and were out for 2 months. Man United have made it clear they don't want to do that this season. So they're taking their time. With Mason Mount, with Højlund, with everyone, with Lenny Yoro even, they're more than willing to take their time. And someone said actually maybe Lenny Yoro having this injury in time to adapt to Manchester life should be fine because that puts less pressure on him to start and play right away with Dalot coming in. And I get that. But Man United is saying, Ineos in particular are trying to work around this injury issues at United and have a big clear plan to, mold players in. Guys, by the way, I am on 93,198 subscribers. So if you're watching right now and you're not subscribed, I'm only 2 subscribers away from 93.2k. on that big road to 100k. So please do subscribe down below if you're new. How would you rate the Fletcher brothers? Jack Fletcher's probably the one that's been stand out. I think Tyler Fletcher had some injury issues. Tyler Fletcher's playing with the under-18s. Jack Fletcher's playing with the under-21s. The Fletcher brothers are very talented brothers. Jack Fletcher particularly has caught my eye, and he could definitely be one for the future as well. Shaw is starting to go down the Phil Jones route, especially set that he's actually quality when fit. Yeah, he's starting to go down the Phil Jones, Anthony Martial route of when he just can't stay fit at all. I like Luke Shaw. I think when fit and in form, I think he's top 3 left backs in the world, and I will stick by that. I think Luke Shaw has had some amazing moments with us. But you're absolutely right. He's becoming a Martial. He's becoming a Phil Jones, where he can't stay fit, and that's why for me, United should look at Anthony Robinson in January. If I was going to be totally honest, I think we should look at Anthony Robinson in January. Obi Martin finally asked, can't wait to see what he does. Need to be patient for how young he is. Absolutely, absolutely. Cass says Fletcher cleans toilets. Lacey is a scouser that joined United a while back. More respect for him, leaving the scousers for United. As much as we need a left back, wouldn't rush Shaw, maybe in Europa League because it's slower than Premier League. Potentially when we're going to like Romania or somewhere, play him as well. Shaw's like a sports car that's constantly in the shop getting repaired, time to replace it, and not getting enough youth out of it, which is fair. Like, I think he's a good player. It's a nice asset to have, but he's constantly injured as well. Alice, you're a nuisance. Took ages to find your name in the voting thing. It will come up under Alice Talks Football, Alice Abrahams, or Alice Akida Football. There's 3 of them there. One of them is at the top, but the other ones are a pain to find. Jack Fletcher do wonders if he develops as a cam in the senior setup, or more of an 8. Yeah, he's a bit of a 10/8 attacking-minded midfield player, but he looks particularly exciting as well. I do like the look of Jack Fletcher. I've not watched much academy football so far this season. I've just sort of seen the highlights, so I can't comment as much this season. I watched the under-18s more than the 21s. I just find the under-18s, I don't know. I I've always preferred watching under-18s. I like the youth cup and stuff, but being cheery, obviously Jack Fletcher's playing for the under-21s, but being cheery's balling out. JC Fitzgerald, very underrated name in the academy as well. JC Fitzgerald, as the Scousers were pissed when Lacey joined United. Arsenal were pissed when Obi Martin joined United. Man United annoying rivals, things you love to see. Let's go for 200 likes, people. Big like everybody that's voted me in the Football Content Awards as well. Really do appreciate that. We are now on 93,198 subscribers as well. Whoop whoop, Alice. Let's get you to 100k. Let's go. You know what to do, guys. Like and subscribe. Big up Josh as well. Will Gore make his debut this season? When he actually made his debut last season, he came off the bench for about 7 minutes in. I feel like we played some team in like the Carabao Cup last year that weren't very good. Or maybe it was the FA Cup. And then he went on loan to Port Vale, played a game for Port Vale, and then got injured as well. So Gore's being eased back in, but it was Gore, Maino and Garnacho were the three sort of academy players when we won the Youth Cup that were sort of the standouts. So potentially opportunities for Gore. You never know. I think we need to develop Zirkzee as attacking midfielder for future. I don't know if Zirkzee is an attacking midfielder. I think he could play behind Højlund, but I think he's just a Firmino, a Cunha, a João Pedro type player. So I think we can play him behind Højlund in this sort of centre forward role for sure. But I wouldn't say let's mould him into a 10. I think he's our 9, but he's going to be our João Pedro, Mateus Cunha, João Felix type kind of player. If being cheery or Obi Martin gets into the senior setup, easier for Zirkzee and Højlund in the same 11 at times. Exactly, because then we don't have to worry about not resting any of them, and potentially they could. It's going to be very, I think striker's the most difficult position. Striker and defence are probably the two most difficult positions to come through at a young age, because I think, striker's a bit of physicality and you need service. I think wing and fullback and midfield can be a little bit easier than centre-back and striker because of the physicality and stuff that you need so young. Gore is really good. He's got the qualities. Voted for you, Alice. It's under Alice Talks Football. Thank you very much as well. But Dan Gore is a very highly rated player. Now, I don't know if you watched my video earlier, but I did want to cover this. Diogo Dalot has actually been recently linked to a move to Real Madrid. Now, Real Madrid obviously want Trent Alexander-Arnold. They wanted to run down his contract. Real Madrid are basically like, you've got Alphonso Davies running down his contract at Bayern Munich and Trent potentially running down his contract at Liverpool. And they're thinking, that's our left back, that's our right back, bish, bash, bosh. Real Madrid, you could... if I was a Real Madrid fan, I'd be gassed. As a non-Real Madrid fan, I'm jealous of their pull and ability to do that. But if Trent does sign a new deal at Liverpool because they're playing well, the slot era looks good and he is a Liverpool boy, and he might say, you know what, the Premier League's where it's at, and then keep that new deal at Liverpool, although he is best friends with Trent. I have a feeling he wants Real Madrid. Then potentially, they will go for Diogo Dalot. Now, I see Trent going to Real Madrid. I don't know what's going on with the Liverpool and the contract situation. If the Liverpool fan is still in the chat, do let me know your thoughts on that. But if they cannot, they might turn their attention to, of course, Diogo Dalot, which doesn't surprise me. I think Diogo Dalot is becoming one of the most underrated players in the Premier League. He can play left back, he can play right back. He's so technically good. He can play in midfield. He can invert into midfield like Trent. I would not want to see Diogo Dalot go to Real Madrid. I think he's one of the players under Ten Hag I think he's been good in all of Ten Hag seasons. I think he's been our most consistent performer under Ten Hag. He's played right back, he's played left back, he's always available, but he can overlap, he can underlap, he can invert into midfield. I think Dalot is the most technically underrated player in the league. I think his technical abilities is unbelievable. We talk about Mashraoui and Zirkzee for technical ability, but I think we sleep on Dalot a bit because I think when we first signed him, he didn't hit the ground running and he had that loan sport Milan, but he's really gone up and up levels under Ten Hag. He has the odd iffy game here and there. Dibbling caused him some problems. And look, if Real Madrid come in for 50 million for Diogo Dalot, then you do have to look at that and think, could we get a better fullback in for 50 million? We have got Mashraoui here. But personally, I would not sell Dalot. Not one bit. Carvajal to Dalot, though. I think, but Dalot is just age and youth. And I think Dalot is generally our most underrated player. Like, I feel like United fans overhype a lot of players, but I feel like Dalot is one that we haven't. And I think that, if you watch Dalot, he's a good player. There's certain players I watch. I think Kulu's had a very good season at Tottenham. Levi Colwill's had a very good season at Chelsea. Dalot's had a very good season at United, but there's not much talk around those players as well. Dalot, I believe, is going to be 26. If he isn't convinced on our trajectory, he might go, which is true. There's a rumour that Dalot and Garnacho could look to leave Manchester United in the future if they feel like the club isn't on the right trajectory. Now, I think with Ineos coming in, it's sort of spread this positive message, and hopefully Dalot and Garnacho and those will believe we're on the right trajectory and on the right path back. But there is obviously talks and stuff around maybe Dalot and Garnacho, looking just in case, because there is interest in them from other clubs. But yeah, Dalot's shaky matches tend to be at left back. He's class at right back. I agree. I think sometimes defensively at left back he can struggle, but yeah. Josh says we can't sell Dalot. He'll probably become our most key player, especially with Shaw not 100%. Would love Davies to come to us, rejoin De Ligt and Mazraoui. I mean, that would be insane. I think if we signed Robinson and then another good right back to compete with Mazraoui, you could sell Dalot, but I personally wouldn't. Agate had a tough game in his time, but he'll adapt. Do you think Dalot could agree to join Real Madrid? Yeah, of course he would. I think if Real Madrid really wanted Dalot, I think he would want to go. And I don't like to say that as well. Agate had a tough game, and he's time of doubt. Yeah, Agate himself came out and said, look, I didn't have the best game. And Agate himself admitted he didn't have the best game. But I think Agate will be a good player for United. I think he suits what Ten Hag's system wants to do. I think he just needs to get up to scratch. And I also think that United just need to improve as well. Dalot is a dream player, no whining. Coach say I shall play there, I will play there. Dalot gives 100%. He doesn't whine. He doesn't complain. It means everything for him. He's got the mentality. He's got the technical ability, and he's improving. And that's what I like about Dalot. The loan to Italy helped Dalot a lot. Yeah, Dalot is a dream player. No whining. Exactly. Zirkzee looks okay. Needs to finish and not become another Lingard. He's a very different player to Lingard. Zirkzee. The only question mark around Zirkzee is can he get 20 goals? He can't. Zirkzee being on the pitch will allow us to score 20 more goals, but the only question around Zirkzee is him getting more goals and him improving the finishing. But right now, if Zirkzee's not scoring goals, but we look a better team with Zirkzee on the pitch, I don't care. You know what? I'd rather Zirkzee make us a better team and not score than Zirkzee get goals to cover up that we're a crap team and he's making us worse. Not that I think that's possible, a striker getting goals that makes you worse, but Ronaldo got 20 goals in the season and apparently he made us worse according to the fan base. But no, I think Zirkzee's a good player. And I think Mazraoui's a good player. And I think De Ligt's a good player. And I think all the new signings at United have been good. Just vote for Alice. Thank you very much. Appreciate all the votes in the Football Content Awards. Much appreciated as well. We should try play Zirkzee behind Højlund. I really want to see that. I really want to see Zirkzee and Højlund play together. I'm not too familiar with this guy, but if we get linked to him again, I'm going to do some research. But apparently Manchester United are watching a guy called Thiago Fernandez, a 20-year-old player, obviously out in Argentina. If you do know anything about that guy, do let me know in the comments. I'm going to have to do some research on the guy and look him up and see if he's any good. But one thing I've noticed about United is we've been linked to so many wonder kids these last 2 months, from Naipan to obviously the guy playing for Dinamo Zagreb to, players in South America like Franco, the guy that River played that looks really good that's linked to Real Madrid. We've been linked to a mass amount of wonder kids, and it's very obvious that Ineos are looking to sign some of the best young talents out there, and that's what they're looking to do as well. 100%. Ten Hag cannot afford to lose to Spurs. They've predicted 1-0 United. I think Man United Spurs has draw all over it. I think it's going to be a tight game. It's going to be a difficult game, but both teams are on 7 points. Both teams need to win, or the pressure is really, really on as well. The tactics is why I thought they're not scoring. I agree. The tactics of being direct and the lack of build-up and the lack of creating chances isn't helping Højlund. I think you create balance and create service, Højlund will score. Zirkzee's not going to be as clinical as Højlund or score as much as Højlund, but you have Zirkzee and Ahmad on the pitch with Højlund and our build-up is good and we're keeping possession well. Højlund will get chances and Højlund will score as well. Zirkzee has some good shots that were saved. He might be a better finisher than given credit. I agree. And I think one of the opportunities he missed that people got annoyed about, he was stretching. And I think people didn't realise that was a much harder opportunity than first thought that he missed. We're 30 likes away from 200 likes, guys. So please do go ahead and hit the like button. We've got 500 people watching. Much appreciated. Zirkzee's a number 10. He's a 9.5. He said it himself. He's not a number 9, he's not a number 10 because he plays between striker and attacking midfield. He's a 9.5. He's a little bit further above than Bruno, but a little bit further down than Højlund. He's a very unique player, a little bit like João Pedro, and I think it was the right signing to have because you get Sesko, he plays, we give him no service. Højlund doesn't get much service, but hopefully Højlund fulfills his potential. I generally believe he will if we give him the service. I think if Højlund was at Arsenal right now, I'd actually think he'd cook. If I was going to be honest with you, I think he would. And I think, he loves United. He's chosen United. I think if he was at Arsenal, he'd absolutely cook. But anyway, people, please do go ahead and hit that like button. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new. I'm on 93,199 subscribers. I'm 1 away from 93.2k. We're on that road to 100,000 subscribers by the end of the season. I'm going to wrap up the live show here because I've got food that's going to be cold. But please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Of course, if you haven't already, go ahead and vote me in the Football Content Awards for Best in Video, Best Club Content Creator, and Best Influencer. I will be back tomorrow morning with an update, or if there's any breaking news, there could be a show tonight. You never know. Thank you for watching. Bye.